Welcome to our first campaign in combat mission Fortress Italy. This is actually one of the more fun combat missions because it's more unique and more dynamic. And funny story, we were actually playing all our previous combat mission games on Iron difficulty, which I thought for some reason would be easy, but that is wrong. The easy difficulty is basic training, and then everyone plays on veteran. As you see here, here is our mission briefing and our mission objectives. I'm going to pause that right here, or you go ahead and pause this if you want to read this. We do have 2 sets of reinforcements that will be coming. As you see right here, reinforcements in 10 minutes, and then another set in 20 minutes. We have an hour to complete this objective. We need to punch through what looks to be a defensive line and secure Creek Bridge. There's a heavy Op 4 presence right here in Railroad Crossing, and then there's this high ground, and all of these positions have infantry as well as anti-tank weapon systems that are currently stopping us. As you see, one of our vehicles, a Sherman 5, was already destroyed. It was doing a bit of recon for some reason, 4 of our recon units, and got destroyed. So we've identified that there are anti-tank positions here, over here to the west of the railroad crossing, and then obviously high ground. Right now, for our first move, we're just going to move our recon positions into position, obviously, see if we can get any eyes on these defensive lines, and then we are calling artillery onto all of these positions. So we're going to call artillery here, and then artillery here. I think that's a bit too soon, but ideally, we do have a small, squad or platoon, a squad of Sherman tanks that I want to use, and then a Firefly. And I think if we can get these guys suppressed, maybe we can get some early blows in and destroy a few things. That's my thinking. I still think this artillery falling is a bit too early. And if I remember correctly, this was around 600 meters from this tree line right here. So this is like a good 600-700 meter engagement range. I'm not sure what the accuracy of German AT is at this time. So with that being said, we are going to hit the start button. We're going to move to the right, to the left, and then these guys are not moving at this time. So let's just... One unit that I really want to follow is this command unit, and I want to follow them because if you get real low right here, as you see as we crest this hillside, let's zoom in, you can see a keyhole right here. And one thing that's really challenging about securing this farm is take a look at this. Oh, there's actually a door right here. Is we can get this command unit into this door. I think that would be the next best thing. But as you see, there is a bit of a keyhole right there. I don't foresee any infantry over there. So regardless, all we're going to do is we're going to dismount, and then we're going to move one platoon into there, or one squad into there, and then we're going to get our command presence over here. We don't have a lot of fighting power, so we're not going to pick a lot of fights early on. Obviously, the spotting rounds are going to be going. I really like these World War II vehicles. What is this? A Stuart? That's pretty cool. He's going to keep his head down. I think that's really fair and really appropriate. There's no reason for us to engage with anyone right now. I mean, they do have that 303 on them, which is interesting. And we're moving up. Let's bound forward onto this unit because he's going through that keyhole. He's facing. And there go our recon units who are now dismounting. So let's grab them. They should be moving into position. I would like for them to move fairly quickly. I'm not hearing any gunfire or any explosions at this moment in time. We're going to follow them into position. They're moving right up to this building right there. Oh, there's our spotting rounds already falling, as you see. And then we do have a lot of artillery suppressing that. We're going to take a look at the tactical map after this turn because I want to take a look at something. And then we're also going to review this. So if I remember correctly, for all of this artillery, so we're not going to do anything. Are we able to click on anything? So let's watch this artillery fall because I feel like that would be really interesting at this moment in time. And then I'm going to talk to you about what I think of it. So let's just watch. So we're going to be watching a lot of rounds fall in. Everything's going to be happening. We have no real identification right there. So there it is. Ooh, that must be our big gun. I think it's a 203. And let's go. My thinking right here is would you put your anti-tank units forward of the rail line, or would you put them in the tree line? So when I first positioned these, called these artillery strikes, and as you saw, it was an area of effect and not so much a linear. And I imagine there's an infantry squad in there. So these guys are getting suppressed, but I don't want to challenge them until our recon makes some good spots. There's only 5 seconds left. And so obviously there are a lot of units right in this position. This is a good fighting position. The railroad crossing is really important, but when I'm thinking about where would you put your like units, you would put them, if you could mount them, could you mount them right here? Like along the tracks, or would they be too low and you'd have to position them forward? That's one thing that I was questioning. We're not going to watch that again. So if we take a look at this tactical map, and I'm going to talk to you about it, I'm going to explain why. As you see, everything's a bit forward. So we're going to go off this bend in the road. So this is, I'm assuming, the width of the defensive line. So from this green, this is the main line, and then this is the width. So they're all forward of the railroad tracks, which, okay, kind of makes sense when you look at the terrain. So if we were going by like that, we would assume that they would be, this is the bend in the road right here. Right here. So this is basically where the start of every defensive line is right along this bend. So you're going to be assuming that everyone right there is along this line. So all the way that way, we turn all the way west. And so that's why I ended up picking up an area of artillery instead of a linear, because I mean linear would make sense, and as you see it's kind of hitting that town, but I guess maybe it's shaking up some of those people. I mean, when we push our tanks forward to do some scouting, we're gonna see, but let's take a look at these guys. So we still have no eyes on this artillery strike. Is medium length. I probably should have did long. This guy's moving into position very quickly. This guy's moving to get a better line of sight. I bet I could get him forward a little bit. So have him, what if we have him like move slow and then slow? I feel like that might be too far forward. I mean, they're currently getting suppressed by the artillery, but hopefully they can get some good line of sight and maybe make some spots for us. These guys are moving as well. I would like to just, before I move anyone into position, I feel like with the binoculars and anything, we should start spotting tanks. And I feel like that's a really fair assessment. And these guys are just moving. I'm going to move it to a quick. Oops, I'm going to just stop their move completely. I really want them to just move quick through these woods. And I want them to stop here. And I really would like them to move from here slowly up to here. And then we should be able to get line of sight on all kinds of things. I'm not going to push the tanks forward until I can see. And then we're actually going to move these recon vehicles. We're going to get one into action. I'm fairly certain we can do one into action. He's going to move along this road. Let's see what we can do. Stop. And this is really dangerous. This is like really dumb. Like we don't really need to like fight this keyhole right here, right? We have artillery right there. We have artillery right here. And that's kind of like a sacrifice of that unit. And I'm just going to put him for a pause for 10, maybe 15 seconds, 20 seconds, 20s, 30s, fine, I guess. Pause, get some line of sight, see what he sees. We may lose that guy early on, which would be unfortunate. He's continuing to move forward. He is going to stop just short. I don't want anyone to mess with this road right now. So from this position, we're going to have him move. We're going to have him hunt across this road. Or slow across this road. Fast, please. Thank you. And then slow across the road into this ditch. So one thing about combat mission that we never understand, or that's always hard to make a determination on, is where the fighting is going to begin. So if we're assuming this is all a defensive line, and that this is where their main attack is, then where along these trees would we see any fighting vehicles or any infantry? We're making a lot of daring moves over here. We have a full hour. Reinforcements don't arrive for another 9 minutes. So I really, before we make any moves with these tanks, I just want to get some good spots in. That's what I'm really trying to do right now. They're almost in position. We're going to grab this command unit, and they're just going to run. I don't know, how do they interact with this fence? I'd imagine that they're going to stop just short. And we're going to take this vehicle, this Stewart, I believe, and he's going to move right up alongside this building. We need to have fire support. This recon unit, I'm not quite sure what to do with. Hopefully we can get into this tree line. If we can kind of verify that there's nothing in these trees, I'm going to have him pause. This guy right here. Nope. This guy right here. Pause for 10 seconds, and then he's just going to beeline it to this tree line. And we're going to see what happens. If he can get there, I'm going to dismount our troops. And maybe we can get some recon through these trees. I'm hoping there's not a lot of fighting going on. But what we're going to do is we're not going to go through the woods. Maybe we'll go through the woods. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with the woods at this moment in time. But maybe we'll just walk parallel to them. Because as you see, if we hug this tree line, we should be able to get securely into this area and maybe maneuver some tanks. And then we can also have a ton of artillery left over. See, as you see, we have 3 busy and then we have 2 105 standing by. So, oh, it's a 140, not a 203. So, I think that's a really good plan at this moment in time. Let's get this guy to dismount. I want him to just dismount right here and just begin walking this tree line. Right, and so what that's going to do, we're going to patrol this tree line. He has fire support if needed. We have this vehicle moving up to provide fire support, fire support, fire support. What's this guy doing? We're clearing the way for him. He's moving up, and honestly, let's put this right there. That's not the keyhole. And then we're going to have him face forward. We shouldn't be able to receive any fire unless there's something way off into that distance. And then if anything, if this is relatively clear, then we could start maneuvering our tanks along this path. But let's see. No, let's follow this guy. Let's hit tab on him, zoom in, and hit play. Oh, they're moving slow, that's right. So let's grab our Stewart. Artillery is still hitting them. Hopefully that's just like some good suppression. I mean, even early on, this may be a mistake, but I feel like we're really using our artillery much better in this scenario than we have in our previous scenarios. Still no spots. Alright, 30-second pause. I don't know, man. If that... Oh, are my spots just off? Spotting contacts only. Floating icons on. Nothing. Not a single spot. Come on, Recon guys. What about over there? Absolutely nothing. I don't really feel super duper comfortable because when we start going down this road, we're starting entering keyholes. So that artillery is doing really good. We're 8 minutes from our first reinforcements. This area is definitely getting super saturated. I just don't feel any more comfortable approaching that objective. So let's get our tanks into play. Our tanks are much, much bigger. This is our Sherman. We're going to split. We're going to go 2-1. The Firefly is going to stay behind. I don't want the Firefly doing anything crazy right now. So the tanks are a much, much bigger target. And I'd rather them at least be into a position before doing anything else. Because I feel like the tanks, if we think about the tanks, and we're going to continue to maneuver through this keyhole. Our tanks are going to follow our recon units in. And instead of dismounting, we're just going to move. Let's grab this guy. We're going to clear that because I thought they would be much further along. They're going to embark. And then this vehicle is just going to move slowly down this hillside. At which point they'll re-disembark down here. And we'll just get into position much, much faster. Like that. So that will be much better for us. This guy's going to re-embark. And then this vehicle is going to move up here fast. And then we're going to switch to move, and he's just going to follow him down as well. And then at this position, because right here, if I'm looking, once we round this corner, we start entering line of fire. So what we're going to do is we're going to send our infantry platoon around these corners and then into this tree line, or maybe through these trees. I'm not quite sure what we're doing with them. Either way, we're clearing the way for our tanks. We're just making sure our tanks can get through. I'm super bummed that these guys have no spots. So what we're going to do is we're going to reverse and begin working our way that direction. So he's going to reverse, and then he's just going to move slowly along this road line. And then we're going to have one of our recon squads walk along this path and get into position right here. I don't want them on the road, though. Definitely not our commander unit. So let's grab these guys. You're just going to stop what you're doing because you're not in position at all. And you're just going to go fast this way. Faster right there. That should be fine. And then we're just going to... A slow crawl. Slow's crawl. Slow uses a lot of energy. They're just going to move into position. I don't really like this. Like, I don't want to go like expose our flank, so we're gonna stop short right there. There's a bit of cover. Hopefully they can fall behind this hedgerow, and then that should be good. They're probably tired, headquarters. So let's go. Right, we want to make our spots before we do anything crazy. If we have no spots, then it's just like absolutely bananas. And either way, once that artillery stops, another 6 minutes when we have those spots, we'll just saturate 2 areas again and then move forward. So everything is just going perfectly fine. We're not overestimating ourselves. We're not saying we're doing poorly or anything like that. We're just taking our absolute time. We're working our way along this path, and we're trying to identify any fighting position that we can see and any defensive line that we can see. All right, we're going to follow this guy up. They're just going to move, recover some energy, and then we're going to check on our tanks. Right, we're not going to recon with our tanks. Our tanks aren't meant to recon. Our recon's meant to recon, and that's exactly what we're doing. Oh, this guy. These guys are trying to embark down here. I forgot that if these guys have a move order, they're not going to wait for the troops to embark. Okay. Nothing of note. Remember, we're still just probing. We are just absolutely probing right now. Sherman's moving into position. Second Sherman's moving into position. 2 Shermans are standing by. We're going to get this guy on the road. So let's grab him. Let's go into move. Or oh my god, I didn't click on a unit. Alright, we lost 1 minute right there. No problem. Those guys will be embarked either way. And we'll just play through this. Not a big deal at all. These guys are still moving. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're on patrol. Nothing wrong with a little combat patrol. Alright, they're all moving. Let's get going. Still no spots. That's so lame, my dudes. God, they are that 150 or whatever it is. Like, there is no one right here. No one in this spot existing. Still nothing. Let's make sure we have our spots on. Alt-I. That 105 is like, dude, pound sand. Get out of here. Either way, our people need to be in position to spot over here. So now that we're moving there, they need to be in position. Okay, we're just going to click done right there because there's nothing for us to watch. So we have our troops basically ready to maneuver this way. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to hit stop. They're just going to move right along this. And then into this tree line. I'm going to challenge this suppression right here, and I'm just going to say fast. Fast as you can. I'm going to challenge this right here as well. I'm going to say fast. Fast as you can, and we're going to disembark. You guys are going to move quick into this tree line. That should allow us to look uphill. That rounds this corner. These guys are getting into position. They're going to move fast as well. And basically just replace these 2 units once they're in position. Just like that. 2 Shermans on deck. This command unit needs to remount up. So let's go quick. And then you need to embark. Move fast. So what we're going to do is you're just going to embark on this unit. We're going to try and get him into position to at least get line of sight up here to spot and drop more artillery. So in 6 minutes we can start laying some hate. This Sherman, just like we previously said before, needs to get into position up here. And then we're not so much going to follow the same path, but we are going to try and get him to right here. We're going to move it off the road though. And then right here we're going to turn, face, and pause. Face, we're going to pause for 10 seconds and then we're going to reverse. That's a fast, click off, reverse. Get us out of there. This unit's going to start getting in the fight. Still no line of sight on anyone. I don't really agree with this. Like we are way, way, way into position. You're telling me no one here can see absolutely anything? Like are they just, like are we not communicating? Command unit, you're gonna move quick. And then you're just gonna move right here. And then we're gonna, from this position, we're gonna face. Like, and I think this is absolutely silly because we should be able to observe so many things right there. 105 still falling, command units moving. We're not gonna challenge that armored vehicle because this artillery is stopped, so they should be remounting. But if anything, we want to make those spots before we do anything at this moment in time, before we schedule artillery, before we do anything. So let's see if we can get our first contact on the board before we discontinue anything. Let's follow this guy. He should be moving fast into position. And by fast, I guess I mean as slow as possible. No spots on board yet. That's interesting. We're like playing it so insanely safe. I just feel like we could not play this any safer. Oh, we're under artillery as well, which means we should, that's a spotting round, so we should probably get these guys out of the woods and along this. All right, so we're gonna get mounted back up and everyone's gonna pull out. But I mean, there's really no place else for us to go. So what are you guys doing? Okay, we're gonna say done. Move fast. Hug the tree line. Stop short. You guys. There ain't no way you guys can't see anything from here. Like, I don't believe it at all. I just don't. I mean, maybe not up that hill. I just don't. Like, honestly. It's hard for me to be like, you know, there's nothing here. Push through those woods. Actually, that should be a slow. Because I think if you tell these guys to go fast through the woods, they don't go fast through the woods. So we're going to tell them to go slow. We're going to split these tanks. Okay. So we had a spotting artillery round right up here. If you guys remember, right here. So what we're going to do is everyone is going to, you guys need to mount up. I want you to get at least in that tank. I want you to fall back, or at least I want you to move fast down this alleyway. You're going to mount. And then you guys, for some reason, are just absolutely blind. Like, I'm not going to push them into this open field because that's just like some silliness in my opinion. So I guess we're going to work our way to secure this deadly little area, which I feel like this is really, really dumb, like moving down this road in that manner. Maybe I should call it right here because I don't really want to advance down this road without having eyes on anything. So if I like push a recon team down here, maybe they can make a spot. I guess we'll just say move. Right there. I mean, that's all we can really realistically do. I mean, at that point, we need to get out of the road, please. Right? Because at that point, like, what happens? We cross this open field. We need to make this bend. And then, right, this bend is perfect line of sight for this anti-tank. So even putting that recon unit there is kind of really frustrating to me. We're going to grab this command unit. And he's just going to move quick along this roadway as well. And I feel like they should be able to see over these bushes. And if I'm making a mistake in that assumption, please let me know in the comments. But at this point, right, so let's take a look at that. Let's just do our post-video assessment. I'm not going to do too much more. We saw one spotting round right here. So obviously artillery is coming in. They have artillery. So what we're going to do is these two units are going to remount on these armored vehicles. This recon unit, our forward observer. And then we have our tank moving in position as well. Where is our tank at? Our tank should have retreated back pretty far. No, he's still moving. So, I mean, we're just going to have him stop. He's just going to stop. There's no reason to even move up to that position right now because, like, we've sent 2 recon units up there. Apparently are blind. A command unit, another recon unit. We've had artillery falling for a long time. And I feel like this last 5 minutes, we've really been relying on the AI to make some decent spots. And I'm assuming that they should be able to do that, especially since these units are on a hillside. So we're going to push these armored units up into more aggressive positions. We're going to push this recon unit up into a more aggressive position. And then we're going to move this recon unit up into a more aggressive position as well. I'm going to drag him. They're going to split. And then I don't really want to cross. I mean, I guess we're just, it's like forcing us to just get silly with all these moves to make a single spot. We're going to push that way. So even though these guys are at the base of the hill, we're pretty much, if I grab this target right here, this marker, and we're assuming, I was hoping it would target from where I clicked. Either way, we're assuming we'll just go right here. We'll just say target from his position, 600 meters. So right here, here's 102. So 500 meters. We're a quarter mile within these heavy anti-tank guns and infantry people. So a quarter mile, 500 meters, well, 400 meters. We should be able to identify at least a troop concentration, depending on how thick it is. And we just can't do that. So right now, basically all we're doing is we're wandering into getting like hammered by someone. And I don't really approve of that methodology, if I'm being honest or whatever. Our basic move right now is move into position and then like get punched in the face, and that's not super ideal for us right now that I want to do. It's also not something that I want to sacrifice at this moment in time. So let's just stop short of this town. That command unit I don't really want there. We'll move. Oops. I really want to make these spots before I move these tanks. We have 5 minutes before our first reinforcements are up, and we're just absolutely nowhere with anything. So the next thing I would do is I would start like calling in artillery strikes once more before, and that'll be 9 minutes. So let's map this real quick. 5 minutes for our first reinforcements, no spots. At 5 minutes, I at least want to have our reinforcements moving into position, taking fire positions onto these guys. So if we click on an artillery guy, this guy right here, and let's say we wanted him to call artillery, it would take 8 minutes. So our next artillery, if we're all okay with that, would be at around 40, 42, 43. if we called it 50. So at our 40-minute mark, we would be hammering away at these guys again. And that puts us around a quarter of the way through the game with still no spots. I guess if we can... This is like dumb right here, right? Because if we don't have any spots in this position where both our flanks are like very obviously open. So if we really wanted to traverse this area at around 40, we would then call 2 long artillery strikes right here and then a long artillery strike right there. So what that's going to do, that's going to allow us to pass through. And then we'll just move everyone down this road. And by that time, we should be well within our fighting. Well within fighting. So 40, going to be real interesting. I'm going to see if I can speed that along, see what I think of it. Like I was really cautious in the beginning because you never know where your first contact's going to be. But very obviously, first contact is this defensive line. So we just got to figure out, we can call smoke here and just traverse this anyway with our Firefly and our Sherman if we really wanted to. So I'm just going to start getting this tank into position. And I don't want to go that way, Joe. Come on, dude. I really don't want to go along this roadway either. Oops. Like our entire flank's exposed. Like this is so silly. What are these guys doing? They're gonna go as well. One's gonna go, and then the second one will follow next turn. Such a silly thing to do. Like I understand how like silly this is, and I should just be like, wait 8 minutes for smoke. But let's see. Let's see. That's that turn, and then we're just gonna play this last turn. Hopefully we get some contacts. All right, what are you doing? Okay, let's do it. Last turn. See what's gonna happen. 4 minutes. There's our spotting round. So that's, remember, that's why we're moving absolutely everyone right now. Everyone's moving. We're going to get that Firefly in position next once we know where this artillery strike is. I wonder if we should just pause and wait more. Maybe we're just not waiting enough. So there, another spotting round. He thinks we're moving through the middle for some reason. I don't know why we would go directly over the middle, but that's fine with me if that's what he wants to think. Oh man, someone... Is that a smoke? That's still a spot. Alright, that's an artillery. Still nothing. Still... Oh, wait. What do we have here? What do we have here? An anti-tank gun way in the back. Who has eyes on that? One unidentified anti-tank gun. So he fired a pot shot right there. Alright. First contact has been identified. Alright. Very, very good. That's the video, guys. Peace.